Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, my friends, several senators, led by Senator Amy Klobuchar and Senator Lisa Murkowski, have introduced a bill in the United States Senate to establish two statues in the United States Capitol of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Day O'Connor, two United States Supreme Court justices. Amy Klobuchar said this as a part of her following support statement for the establishment of these statues. She said, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Day O'Connor were trailblazers, long before reaching the Supreme Court, opening doors for women at a time when so many insisted on keeping them shut. The Capitol was our most recognizable symbol of democracy, which is not true. A place where people from across our country have their voices represented and heard. It is only fitting that we honor their remarkable lives and service to our country by establishing statues in the Capitol. My friends, this initiative is simply another rung in the ladder, the very long ladder, the very extensive ladder of idol worship in American politics. My friends, there's a difference between having a personal reverence or honor for an individual due to achievements that may meet your values, and then trying to force that personal reverence or honor onto everyone else by appealing to abstract ideals. What do I mean? Well, first of all, Klobuchar is promoting Ginsburg and O'Connor not on the basis of their Supreme Court decisions or their values, but on their identity. And I will explain the significance of that in a moment. But let's go back to first principles for a moment, my friends. Because politics, what is politics? Politics is about governance in accordance to a set of values. And now in the American sense, those values are stipulated in the Constitution and found and observed in nature. And those values are the values of believing that individuals have natural rights, that we have certain things about us that are found in our being that cannot be violated lest an immoral action, an unethical action, a calamity is being committed. So when the structure that is about governance is founded on these principles, necessarily that structure should follow these principles as well, lest the structure itself unravels and becomes contradictory. You cannot have a coherent political structure that goes against its very core values. It's no longer that structure anymore. It's something completely different. Now, personalities, my friends, are simply vessels for truths. Personalities are simply vessels for values, my friends. But when we put personalities to be the values themselves, we taint the foundations of governance, and therefore create a different kind of American system that is not our current American system. My friends, neither one of the founding fathers ever really, well, actually I shouldn't say that. The founding fathers were not necessarily concerned about their own images as it relates to posterity. They were concerned about how posterity would account for liberty and how that liberty would play out in future generations. It's why Franklin had that quote about liberty and security. It's why Jefferson made the Declaration universal as opposed to making it about a particular political event or moment. But when we bind certain values to people, those values obtain the limits of those people. So, for example, when we say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Senator O'Connor blaze the trail for certain women, well, they become the standard of value for women who are going to continue on that trail. It follows from reason. But why should that be so, especially if the women who are following along that trail do not share the values of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Senator O'Connor? Most importantly, why is the identity of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sandra Day O'Connor, why are those things more important than what they actually believed? It's absurd. For example, if there was a Supreme Court justice who had who had done an oath to do something, and then contradicted themselves constantly and paid homage to fascism or paid homage to communism or whatever, there would be a good majority of the country that was not in favor of the Supreme Court justice. But by this logic, if that Supreme Court justice happened to be someone who hadn't been a part of the political class for a while, i.e. a woman, that would be enough to justify including them as trailblazers. But again, it's not the fact that Ginsburg and O'Connor were women that was significant about them. It was that they had experience in certain ideas which made them appealing, attractive political candidates, and those ideas had consequences while they were on the bench. That's what matters, my friends. That is what actually is material, my friends. But again, we get away from investigating that when we are shrouded in the emotional appeal that because they are women, they must therefore be celebrated. This is not to say that it is not an achievement that people who have not been included in the system for a very long time got a chance to be included in it, but it is to say that the very principle that alienated people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and O'Connor, the principle of bigotry, which alienated women like them from being able to partake in the system, is being reused and it's being converted into energy for an effort which claims to actually honor them because it emphasizes their womanhood over their individuality or over their values. So, my friends, more broadly, we have to understand that since individuals are indeed, as mentioned before, vessels for values, and not themselves the value, that there is something that exists outside of those we admire. And just because we admire someone does not mean that there needs to be a public spectacle on their behalf. My friends, why isn't private celebration enough? Why can't one simply celebrate Ginsburg's accomplishments or O'Connor's accomplishments if they believe those are accomplishments and they share their values? Why can't they celebrate them privately? Why must you take them before a symbol, as Klobuchar said, of democracy and enshrine them there? Because Klobuchar wants them to be a permanent part of how the public thinks about politics, law, and society, and more importantly, the foundational tenet of our republic. She wants these things to be connected to physical locations, buildings, people. And so do everyone else, including some Republicans who have co-sponsored the bill. But that's a mistake, my friends. Freedom is much bigger than a building. Freedom is much bigger than a condition. America is much bigger than any single building. Buildings fade away, but the ideas of America are eternal and universal and forever, my friends. So for that reason, I would urge us against this sort of idol worship that has ensnared so many of our sensibilities, because it emotionally sounds good for us to adulate groups instead of individuals, to look at avatars instead of actually looking at their values. We got to get rid of that. We have to approach goodness, as Emerson said, to see if it be goodness, test the fruits of that spirit, and then discern if we're going to take that fruit and take a bite of it. In this instance, we should not. Think on it. My friends, I love you guys so much. If you love me, patreon.com/VigilCWatson, PayPal, officialcwatson@gmail.com, or even locals, christianwatson.locals.com, or Discord, which will be in the comment section down below. I love you guys so much, and please, you better stay pensive. Bye, guys.